Oh no, just got a wet arse. The roof's leaking again. Flipping heck. Ah, pump down here. Dave was right. Hours of fun. What is up, folks? Welcome back to Downhill Smooth Tarmac. It's another workshop episode and it's another bike build. Again, I have been tempted by a frame out of the blue. I spotted this Gary Fisher Wahoo frame and had some ideas. It's adventure bike time. You may remember I built a Specialized hard rock adventure bike back in the summer of 2023. Truth be told, it's too small. It's not working for me. So I've decided to use some of the parts off that on this, but that is the thin end of the building wedge today. I think this build is going to be about as far as we're going to be able to push a 26er frame without welding on tabs and that sort of thing. On this bike, I've managed to source some rigid, exotic something forks to go with it that are straight. I'm going to either go for some flat bars or some drops. We're going to make it into a 650B adventure bike with cable operated hydraulic disc brakes. Got some disc only 650B wheels, got some Panaracer Gravel Kings, got a mixture of subcompact gearing and 9-speed at the back with 1140, something like that. We really are going to push this frame to its limits. It's a humble Gary Fisher Wahoo. It's nothing massively special. What drew me to it is the fact that it's this really lovely shade of purple. And that is one of the things that we're going to start with after the credits is a proper cut and polish. Then we're going to move on because the wheels that we've got for this we found in the scrap at Dave's shop. Myself and Jack have put some new bearings in, but that's only the start because we've got to true those bad boys up. So roll the credits. Let's get started into time lapse for cut and polish. Here we go. Gary Fisher Wahoo adventure bike. Roll them. Okay, so while that carnauba wax is drying on the old frame behind me, it's time to true up these wheels. These wheels are Fulcrum Racing 66s, red 60 somethings. Found these in the skip while they were going in the skip at Dave's, and we have managed to put some new bearings in them because they were completely seized up. We've managed to put some new bearings in, and the only thing that's left to do with them now is give them a true up. Right, so this wheel has got quite a serious buckle in it. So I'm just going to work at taking that buckle out. Let's cut it into a time lapse. We'll come back when it's a bit truer because that is eggy. Okay, so that actually wasn't too bad. The back one was pretty buckled. Nothing we couldn't sort out, and the front one actually is perfectly usable, especially as it's a disc wheel. I'm not relying on rim brakes here, so within a couple of mil of tolerance I'm happy. So that'll do for this kind of build, especially considering we've got to remember we've got the wheels out of the bin, so they're not going to be amazing, but they are amazing because we saved them out of the bin. Right, back to the frame to get that carnauba wax off. Okay, so by way of recap, we have T-cut this frame, so we've cut out any scratches that we can sort of get, and we've added a coat of carnauba wax just to give it a good bit of shine and protection. And now we're just going to take that off, and whatever we've got is what we've got. A lot of these frames, really, you're just looking for a bit of shine, especially if you're doing a vintage road bike. You've seen the levels I go to with the road bikes. There's a lot more to it. We want to touch the scratches in with a bit of paint and that kind of thing. I'm trying to build an adventure bike. So I don't need it to be a perfect paint job. I do like a nice paint job. It's all about the colour. That purple colour is so cool. And with those wheels with the fluoro yellow on, it's going to look the business. And I think you'll agree that this has come up really nice. It's got a little bit of wear, like uniform wear on the Gary Fisher logo, but should we call it patina? Let's call it patina. I am more than happy with that. Tell you what else is nice about this frame is all the cable routing's up high. So for an adventure bike, that's pretty good. Or is it going to be a gravel bike? There's a temptation to go drop bars on this again because it's such a large frame, but I don't know, I'm a bit bored of drop bars at the minute. Anyway, there we go. We need to get ourselves a headset for this because I just realised we haven't really got one of those. Got one waiting in the wings though. Let's not make it dramatic. I've got one, a nice silver one. It's coming off another bike that we don't ride. Let's go find that. We can press it in. That'll be exciting. Okay, so headset press time. First thing we're going to do is just put a little bit of grease in here. 1 is to ease the fit in. 2, this is steel, so anything we can do to protect it is good. Next, we're going to get the cups. I'm going to rest them where we need them to go. Just going to rest them in place at that. Oh, these are going to be a snug press, which is good. Get your headset press, or your threaded bar with your washers, or your block of wood with a hammer. I ain't judging you. I'm lucky enough to have a headset press, and I'm damn well going to use it. Mine isn't the most expensive, so we have to thread it all up. Talk amongst yourselves. There we go. Right. Now let's make sure these are going in straight. Problem when you've got a wonky eye. I don't like using the spacer shims with this headset press because they have a habit of eating the cups. There we go. Meanwhile, those people that have hit theirs with a block of wood and a hammer have already finished. There we go. Now it's time to take this out and we'll introduce the new fork. Okay, so let's introduce the fork. Fork is brand new and it is, even in its box from, it's upside down for you, but the well-known eBay brand, Exotic Carbon. So I bet you're getting all excited thinking, oh yeah, carbon fork, that's going to be great. Well, it's not carbon, so get over yourselves. It's aluminium, I think, or for those of you watching across the pond, aluminum, but it's brand new. It takes discs, also takes V-brakes as well, which is kind of cool. And that is it. It's even got a race on it. It's even got a race on it ready. So we're going to put some grease on it, bang some bearings in, and some spacers, and see how this is going to look. It's very exciting. Going old school grease on this because it's what I've got. There's actually already a star-fangled nut in here. I don't know if this has already been cut at some point, but it's quite long. I'm hoping it's going to give me loads of spacer room because actually, with this going into adventure bike territory, I want lots of spacers, which a little bit is down to the fact that I'm not as young as I used to be. Can't be leaning over at my age. So, I'm only joking. Let's pop that headset. Wow, that's quality. Oh, I think I used to stock these in my shop. I remember where this came from now. These are the budget of budget. I think they're Neko, something like that, whatever they are. I'm not going to besmirch the quality. They work as a headset, but I think we'll leave it at that. Let's get a stem. Thankfully, we've got a stem here, ready and waiting, because we've just done Chopsy a bit of a bike fit. Oh, that's lovely. Look at that. Oh, yes. And that gives us our first taste of how this bike is going to look. I think it's badass. It's neo-retro of the highest order, I think that is. And it's cool. Headset's nice. Let's wipe off the excess grease before we get any older. What do you think of that? What a build. This is going to be the ultimate retro mountain bike turned into adventure bike. This is so exciting. I reckon we'll put a bottom bracket and some wheels in it next. Okay, so before we get into the bottom bracket details and cranks and all that stuff, you'll notice my head's changed. Lost my hat. I was getting all my bottom bracket stuff ready. Anyway, here's a little bit of beginner's info for those of you that might be wanting to fit Holotech bottom brackets. Holotech 2, in fact, which is this. Goes on the outside, not the inside. Yeah, it's one of them. You get two types of these. You get road and you get mountain bike. If you've ever fitted one, you might have found that the mountain bike one came with 3 little spacers, and there is a reason for that, and that is because mountain bikes can have different size shells. Here, this is the shell. It can be either 68 or 73 millimeters. So those spacers account for the extra if you've got a mountain bike with a 68 mm shell. What does that mean for the Fisher? Well, it means that we ain't going to be using a road crank, that's for sure, because it's going to be too short. So we're going to have to fit a mountain bike one with a mountain bike bottom bracket. So we've got this deal here, that is going to be our chain set, but not with these chain rings. We're going to go for 38-22, so we've got some good climbing gear for when this thing's carrying load, by which I mean my fat arse. Right, let's get a bottom bracket in there. Funnily enough, behind me, here's one that I prepared earlier. It's almost like I've been mucking about finding the right one. So, you can just throw up the shells with a little bit of grease, just a little bit to keep those steel threads happy. And then we're going to thread these in. Make sure right hand, left hand. Remember, the right hand cup's going to have a left-handed thread, so don't go turning it the other way. Put it in by hand first. Probably should clean these. What a mess. These ones are going to require a little adapter for the tool. Goes on like that. And then the tool itself, which is one of these. You also get them as a socket if you're a little bit more decadent. Here we go. Tighten it up. And then do the same again, funnily enough. There we go. Oh, tight. Wipe it down with your oily rag because it's a mess. There we go. It's a beautiful thing. Right, now go off camera and get the chain set ready like this. There it is. Just like that. Tommy Cooper. Look at that. SLX chain rings, 38, 20, well, it's meant to be a 24, but I think that's a 22 actually. It's what I had. That's going to be all the gears. All the gears. Right, we're going to put it on. A little bit of grease on the shaft. We're going to fit this up. If you've not fitted one of these before, they're really, really straightforward. Just double check everything clears the way it should. That's catching. Excellent. The inner chain ring doesn't work. That inner chain ring's actually hitting the bottom bracket, so we're going to have to put another one on. Cut to that. Not feeling tested at all. Just found a 24, even better, in black, so that's going on. Send that home. That's what we want. That's my finger. There we go. Now it's clearing. Lovely. Oh yeah. Ever put one of these on before? Dead easy. Well, easy for me to say. Put the other crank arm on the opposite way. Obvious, you might think, but no. I have seen it done at skewy angles. We don't want skewy angles. Take the cap. This is just a tension of this cap. We don't need to tighten it up till it stops. What it does is it takes out any excess tension in the crank against the bearings. Now, if you tighten this all the way up, all that's going to happen is your crank's barely going to turn, and you're going to lose precious and valuable wattage, and we don't want that. So once you've got the slack taken up and you've got a nice free flowing bottom bracket, there's 2 bolts on this side to be cranked up evenly and then torqued at the end. So I'm going to do this by hand for now, and then I'm going to torque it up on my final check. There we go. You haven't seen this on camera, but this has actually been a long time coming. I've mucked about with that many different ratios of gears that this makes me really happy. So next thing we've got to do is put a derailleur on. I'm going to fit the right derailleur for this is going to be something like this with a top pull. We also ideally want this arch to match this, which hopefully it will. I've had to use a Christmas cracker Allen key because one of my tang tools has just gone missing again. So excuse this. This is a touch big, so I'm going to use a metal shim just to bring it where it needs to be. And if we keep it low with one of these type of bottom bracket, should mean that we can use all the bottle cages without being impeded. Make sure it goes on straight. I think that's probably about right. Judging by the tools I'm using, my next job is to build a billy bookcase from IKEA. Consummate professionalism here at Downhill Smooth Tarmac. There we go. Let's get a rear one. It's got some XT for that. Next up, rear derailleur time. Got ourselves some XT. It's pre-Dynasty, so I'm guessing it's 9-speed. All I know is it's got some new tax jockey wheels on it, and I've used it on a few projects, and it's bomb-proof goodness basically. So I'm going to see if we can get this to go on, because I think I damaged the threads on this once. No, it's fine. It wasn't this one. It was another one. Here we go. Lovely. Make sure it moves. Smooth. I'll tell you what else we're going to do while we're here. I've no idea if this chain is going to be long enough. It's the one off the adventure bike. I'm going to bang it on so it's done then, and we'll see where we end up. I reckon it'll probably be all right. Might as well just get it in place, ready for the wheels, because that's next. Wheels. Okay, so this is the first fit of the wheels. And here we have them, Fulcrum Red 66s. I've since discovered that these originally would have been on a cube. It just means they're a reasonable quality wheel. They've got enduro bearings in now, so they're more than capable. But that is in. Look at that. Oh my goodness. There's something about that first fit up of a wheel where you just get a real chance to see how it looks. That is lovely. Oh, got a knackered skewer. Tried to go Gucci with the skewer, knackered. Right, let's get an old school one. Old school skewer. That's what we're going for. It's a bit of old school Shimano. That's it. Wheel is in. Let's have a look at that. First impressions, my word, that chain is too long. And it's fallen off. Minor things. Front wheel. So while I fit this front wheel, I should really give a shout out and a thanks to Dave at Pickering's Bikes. I stopped by their shop earlier because I wanted some tubeless doing, because I haven't got a compressor, and all I wanted to do was use the compressor, and Dave stepped in, did the whole lot for me. I don't know what I'm doing here. Making a right mess of it. Front wheel going in. Lovely. Oh yes. Oh. It looks like a 650B bike. That's amazing. Right, we're gonna have to get some handlebars on so we can get a hold of this thing now. Let's do that. Righty. Now it's bar time. Sticking with the old adventure bar. Adventure bike, I'm going to be fitting my favourite adventure bars in the shape of these on one Jeffs. Love these. They are the coolest bar. They're basically, in a nutshell, they're like a knockoff Jones bar for people on limited means. That's how I like to class them. Use the Billy Bookcase Allen key again. It's embarrassing. On the plus side, for those of you that might think you haven't got the right tools for the job or stuff like that, this is in the back of the tool chest. It's saving the day on this video. Look at that, there we go. It's still a Allen key shaped piece of metal and an Allen key bolt doing its thing. Okay, right. So, first glimpse of what this thing is going to look like, and what a pretty bike this is going to be. I'm doing mad tight yet. There we go, look at that. It is looking like an adventure bike, sort of. There we go. Right, I'm going to switch it around now because it's time to put some calipers on this and see where we're at with those. Right, so for the brakes, I'm going to be adding some semi-hydraulic or cable actuated hydraulic brakes in the shape of these Acors. These basically work by a cable, pulling a piston, cylinders, full hydraulic fluid. I have never ever used these before. So, like a bottle of Dr. Pepper, what's the worst that can happen? Let's get a little adapter doodad and fit the front one. Is that the front one? Well, that's post mount, that ain't going to help me. Yeah, so if I'd have checked, I would have known I needed a different adapter, but I didn't check. So anyway, so these old forks are IS mount, so that's what these look like, where the posts, the holes go that way. Post mount, holes go that way. Crystal? Yeah. This is marked up front 160, rear 140. So now it's got to go. Got much more in a brain fart that way. Blooming long bolts these. What am I doing here? There we go. Oh dear, right, this isn't going in very well at all. No, it's not the bolts, it's the thread. Right, that's fine. Not exactly what we call centralise that. Oh, nice and powerful though, which is good. Yeah. Right, I think the front one was fun. The back one's going to be really weird. Okay, so for the back, we are going proper old school. Anyone remember A to Z disc adapters? Well, I do, because I'm old. Imagine my surprise when I looked on Amazon and found one without the branding and really not made anywhere near as well. These are a great way of testing adding rotors to the back of non-disc specific bikes. Reason why I've gone for one of these and not gone grinding and welding is because I want to see how it goes. Just want to see how it goes before I commit to ruining it. So we know we've got clearance, we know we've got the wheels, we've got the brakes. Let's just have a go at fitting this. The only downside of these, I remember many a rainy, wet, muddy ride where I've had to take the wheel out, and these can be a bit of a pain, but small price to pay for disc power. So let's have a go at it. If I remember correctly, because obviously being Amazon, there's no instructions with this. The skewer's got to come off first. It doesn't bloody want to. Slide this over the dropout. Oh, this one fits nicely. Okay, right. Get the wheel back up into the dropout inside the adapter. Hopefully it'll still run free. Yes, it does. Excellent. Chops has actually got one of these on one of her bikes, an old Cove hand job. Put your skewer through into the hole onto there. Let's see if it holds it in place. You then tighten up all this stuff around it, and you should have disc mount in roughly the right place. Oh mama, I don't know if that's going to actually work. Miles off. Okay, so this rear brake has been one hell of a head scratcher. I've had to step away, I've had to turn the camera off, and I've had to come up with a solution because no matter how I fit this, it's not close enough to the rotor. So what I've ended up doing, spacing the bracket with some little spacers off a V-brake to a point where I can then balance the caliper itself. I know it balances because I've got that lovely free flow. Let's talk about the front one behind me. Well, I've ended up having to re-tap the threads on the adapter for this because it was sending the bolts all over the place. That is now rolling freely as well. that's all I want to say about these. The A to Z adapter thing works really, really well. I've just got to make sure the wheel actually does drop out. These have been a nightmare. Apologies, there's no filming of the real one being fitted. I just couldn't face the concept of filming it at the time. It's absolutely broke me, but it's done now. We can put some cables in. Let's get this going. Awesome. So with the brake cables in, I thought it was about time for a nice hot cup of Java and a bit of a tidy up in the workshop. And the great news is I found my hat. So I'm back in my woolly hat because it's still bloody cold in here, I tell you. But anyway, what's even better news, I mean really even better news, is the brakes. The cable's on, feel is lovely. It's really weird, I've never had these brakes before. It feels somewhere between, weirdly, like you'd expect, somewhere between a hydro and a cable. It's weird, but I can't wait to try them out. But the feel is nice, and I've got a good solid stop at the end, and I've got free moving wheels. Lovely, that's brilliant. So really all that is left now on the build is gears. So we need to get some gear cables in and carry on with the setup. Right, first up, let's cut some outer cable. We want enough cable that you can spin the bar without having any problems. And you also want the front and the rear to match if, like me, you've got chronic OCD about such matters. So I'm going to cut one and immediately cut the other one for later. So I'm going to cut that one about there. Put one to one side. Check the insides of your cables are clear, or your inners, outer cables are clear rather. Ready for your inners. Put an end on. Even though these are coated cables, I'm still going to add a little bit of fine oil into the inners. Some people muck about wiping it all over the inner. I use one of these cheap syringes off Amazon and I put it into the outer. It's cleaner, and I've been doing it for years and it works just fine. Make sure the shifter is in the highest gear possible, highest being hardest. So this is 9-speed, so we want it in gear 9. Pull it through and just, I like to do a bit of this just to make sure that the shifter's actually working as well. Perfect. Get your outer. With a little bit of luck, we can feed it through. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, some oil coming back out. That's that oil I told you about. Look, you see, I wasn't lying. And into the holder. Just run yourself down the cable, get any dirt off. We're going to move to the back to do the outers for the rest of the routing. Now, because this has got some old school top tube routing, we've got two pieces we need to cut. One for here and one for down at the derailleur that leads up to there. It's simple, this one. What we're looking for is a nice smooth arc. We're not looking for tons of extra cable. Remember that outer, those ends we talked about, we need 2 more of them. I see people who do this, they cut the outer, they put it in place and then they spend ages trying to feed the cable through. Just do it first in your hands like that, look. Feed it through. That's why these are split. I know it sounds obvious. You see it time and time again. There we go. Lovely, nice line down. And we're going to go to the back of the bike now. Do that last bit. So again, with this outer for this one, just want a nice arch. Don't want the cable to feel impeded in any way, so we're going to go about there, I reckon. Forgotten the little donuts for the tube. Has it got any? Forgot my tube donuts. Back we go. You don't need these, they just stop the scratching on the frame getting any worse. Should be 2 set. There should be 2 tube donuts. Where's the other one? Actually, we're going to need another tube donut for the front one, so we'll have to just use them and split them up. I've used all of them on the brake on one. There, tube donut in place, cable going through. Now, before I clamp this down, I'm just going to go back to the shifter and undo the barrel at 4 turns. Marvellous. Let's see if it works. Okay, so all the gear adjustment is actually going to be up at the shifter because this model of XT doesn't have a barrel adjuster. So it goes straight in, so it's all done up here. So we're looking for 1 click, 1 lift. Haven't quite got it, so let's just undo this a little bit. Same again, one click, one lift. See if it comes back down. There we go. It's a little slow, so we'll go another turn. Little quarter turn. Now it's up, we'll have a look at the B limit here. I can tell straight away that needs a little bit more limit, so we'll use the B limit screw here just to separate the jockey wheel from the cassette. Oh yeah. Smashing. Look at that, there we go. Right, let's get some cables in the front. Right, this is proper mugging me off here. Here we go, there we go. This time we're not going to forget the donuts. No idea if that's the technical term, but that is what I'm naming them. Don't forget the frame donuts. Where the bloody hell does that bugger go then? Oh no, I think we might have a routing problem here. Bugger, right. This might require further investigation. Let's flip the bike around. Okay, so as I thought, we have got a problem. I've used the gear routing for my rear disc brake because I needed it, because this is the canti-brake routing up here. No good to me because I ain't running a canti-brake. So, my front gear changer, got two options. I either sack it off and run one by, that's not what I want, or the only other thing I can think of is I've got a cable guide off a road bike that would normally go into a braze-on down tube shifter mount. Can fit it just here, drill it, riv nut and a bit of epoxy, and we'll have pretty much exactly where we want it, the routing that will take the rest of the guide round to here. So I'm going to do that. I think it'll just look cleaner. Otherwise I'm clamping stuff round or just compromising in another way. Don't want that. So let's do that. Step one is going to be put the thing where we want it. Just about there. And we're just going to put a mark on the frame so we know where roughly we want to drill. It's going to be about there. Little mark. A little bit of oil on the drill. Spraying oil all over the frame, don't see the point in that. With that paint dry, push the rivet into the hole. I've just had to do that off camera because that's just tap it through a tiny bit with a hammer. Now I'm going to squeeze the rivet gun, put the rivet in place. Looking for a good hard clamp down. These are a little different to a pot rivet where you can snap the end off. This you just have to compress till there's no more compression to be had. And remove the gun. I think we can machine this down a bit smaller. Okay, so that has been a bit of an ordeal to get this into a position where we can use it. I've done it. It's holding. Basically what I've had to do off camera is just using grinding wheel and a file, just slimming down, reprofiling the adapter so it sits here and it's slim enough that it's not going to bosh me on the leg when I'm riding. So there we go. So now we're ready to carry on now. I'm actually quite pleased with this. Just a good job really, because there wasn't any way that I was going to be redoing this cabling. There we go. Right. Let's thread it through. See if it goes straight through. Then we'll know we're onto a winner. Yeah, there we go. Right. And then we're just going to flick the bike back round. So we'll do the low limit on the front derailleur and then the high and then, you know, all that kind of stuff. Right. So looking at this, my lower limit is exactly where it should be. So we can now put the gear cable in place. See if it works. Oh, yeah. Now we need to tell this, because it's on a triple shifter, we need to tell it we don't want it to go any further than small and big, which is where it's at now. We'll identify on here the high and the low limit. High's at the back. And we'll see how much it's got to bring in. Apart from a little fine tuning, I think this bike is about done. Okay, so there we have it. The Gary Fisher is finished. Another bike, another build is done, and this one, I am pretty sure, has pushed the limit of what you can convert from a 26er mountain bike towards a gravel offering. We've managed to squeeze in disc brakes, tubeless 650B with 2.1 inch tyres, managed wide range 9-speed 2x gearing to cover everything we need for adventures. It's got rack mounts, it's got semi-hydraulic discs, and it's also got, these is the finishing touch, which is some ass savers with a cool squid paint job. As soon as I saw those at Core Bike, I knew they were going to finish this off right nice. So I've got Dave at Pickering's Bikes to order me some. And yeah, according to other people on YouTube, this little diddly one actually does do something. So we'll see. I think the wing at the back looks ostentatious and very cool. So all that's left now is to go ride it. As always, I'm going to save that for a whole other video. I don't know quite what I'm going to choose for the test ride. Might take it out for a bit of an adventure, or I might just go get it muddy, see if these ass savers work. Whatever happens, if you like and subscribe, you won't miss the next video. But don't let that get in the way of you riding your bike. And I hope your next ride, when you do get out, is downhill for smooth tarmac. Keep your wheels spinning, keep your rubber on the road, knobblies on the trail. Look out for each other. Be good cyclists, say hello, give them a nod. If you see somebody in trouble, stop and help them. They might not have the tool they need, and you just might be the caped hero. Whatever. Anyway, just get out, ride your bike. Thanks for watching.